Hello and welcome to Boomer 11. Today we're going to be talking about Cristiano Ronaldo and his interview with Piers Morgan. Before we begin, remember guys to download and play Boomer 11, a risk-free fantasy experience. You can get it on your App Store, Apple App Store or Google Play. And I have with me on the show Abel and Abhishek. Both of you welcome to the show. Let's begin with the topic right away. Cristiano Ronaldo and Manchester United have been at loggerheads for quite some time. I mean, things haven't looked the best. Ronaldo has walked out of the pitch many a times while the game was going on, and it seemed like it was a tussle. I mean, for quite some time. But now, finally, Piers Morgan's interview seems like all the dirty laundry is out there, and we haven't had the whole interview come out yet. But from what we see, it's going to be an explosive interview, quote unquote. I'll get to you, Abhishek. What are your reactions, your initial reactions on Ronaldo and what he had to say?
I was shocked. I was blown out of my mind. I woke up and my social media feed was just filled with every football media outlet is just covering this. So I was thinking, wow, did he really do this? And after I saw what he said, and when I got to my senses, when I was thinking calmly, I thought this is him being my favorite player, it kind of took his image, according to me, is just going down and down since he left Real Madrid, to be honest. And with this interview, I felt this was extremely unprofessional. Despite, even though whatever he said about United, even if it is true, 100% true, 50% true, but the timing of it is what bothers me. Like him being in contact with United and like doing this expose about United, like, how backward they are still since Sir Alex Ferguson retired, is just unprofessional. And for me and for the rest of the world as well, he's been the embodiment of discipline, perseverance, and like, doing only focusing on what is going on in the pitch. And since he left Real Madrid, like, since 2018, there are more news about him, what he's doing off the pitch, than he's doing on the pitch. So it's been a rough day for me personally, as a fan, as a big fan. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think a lot of Man United fans and Ronaldo fans to be torn now because there seems to be, sort of a divorce that's almost on cards now come the January transfer window. But Abel, I'll get to you. I mean, right before that, I think let's look at some of the comments right here. Do you think Abel Rob Key has a chance now, to transform United? He did do a good job with the England cricket team. Do you think it's time Rob Key instead of Glazers?
Yeah, he's been on our chats for the last few days, isn't it? Telling that he will smash India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, and he's doing a good job. I think it's time for him to smash United as well. But nonetheless, to be very honest, as Abhishek said, last night I was like online at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. in the morning, and I see this come up on Twitter. Firstly, I was like, okay, this could be a fan-made thing. Then Fabrizio tweeted about this, and I was like, no way. He just did this right before a World Cup. And remember, United just had a win yesterday against Fulham, and
Yeah.
it was an injury time winner by Garnacho, and that was celebrated all across. People already started comparing Garnacho's goal versus Cristiano's goal in 2007. So already, there is a lot of hype about this lad, right? But then now him coming out to talk like that to Piers Morgan, I was taken aback. I truly was taken aback.
I mean,
But then there's a thing,
yesterday I
right?
think against
Yeah.
Fulham, Ronaldo did not play. The official stand was that he was ill. But do you think this is
Right.
what was going on in the background?
Absolutely. I don't think illness was a thing. And look at the timing of the interview releaser as well, right? It was released
Yeah,
just 1 hour or 2 hours after the game. So that in itself says how they were waiting for the last game before the World Cup and how they want to release it so that once the World Cup is over, once players return, he's on his way out. Now it's officially over. I mean, though the official word has not come out, it's now done. Now I don't think so. Ten Hag
It's
will
done.
ever play him.
Yeah.
yeah.
He's
Yeah,
never
I mean,
playing
yeah,
another game for
yeah.
Manchester United ever again. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, Eric Ten Hag has been very patient with him, hasn't he? Because he has been going against him. There were incidents initially as well in the preseason when he took off before the game was ended. And Eric Ten Hag, I think, hasn't been as aggressive. Maybe like I think you probably go back to what Alex Ferguson did, right? When he had a tussle with someone like a Roy Keane or David Beckham. He was someone
David
who's in
Beckham.
total control of the dressing room. But now, I mean, my question to you guys here, especially I'll come to you, Abhishek. What do you think? Because Alex Ferguson is the one who brought Ronaldo is instrumental, because initially there were talks of him going to Man City instead of Man United, and he's confirmed it reportedly in the Piers Morgan interview as well that it was Alex Ferguson who was instrumental in bringing him to Man United. But now you reckon that Alex Ferguson is the man who could sort this mess out, or is it just irredeemable and he's out now?
I think it's beyond repair, to be honest. This interview that he did, he's alienated the club, he's alienated the management, he's alienated the fans as well. And I'm not a Manchester United fan, so I don't really understand what the fans would be going through. But being a legend of the club and being a current player, I see no way of Ronaldo being in cordial terms with the club, or I don't see someone as huge as Sir Alex Ferguson, who was instrumental in getting him to the club, can repair the relationship right now. I mean, I was also thinking about like all the people defending Ronaldo during his tenure since he joined United. Roy Keane and Sir Alex Ferguson, because he got him in. Like, what will they say now? He's like openly blasted. Whose side will they take now? And to get back to your question, it's beyond repair. Because especially because of this interview, and once you start connecting the dots of what he's been doing off the pitch since he came to Manchester United, you can just it just makes so much sense now, because he just confirmed what we saw visually. He just confirmed all that. So I just don't think there's any way back for either of the parties, that is Manchester United and the fan base and Ronaldo.
I mean, so when the next probable point is, the fact that, I mean, there were rumors that Ronaldo will be offloaded in the, at the end of the season transfer window, but that did not happen. Many clubs were interested in him. It seemed like he would be moving on from Man United. There were also, I mean, I think for me, what I understand is the Glazers wanted him around because of the kind of money that he brings in. Ronaldo is
Right.
still a big, icon in football, and he is obviously a source of income, regardless if he's on the bench or not. Do you reckon now it's gonna get even more difficult for Man United to offload him and for Ronaldo to find a new club? Because I'm sure that what he's been doing to Eric Ten Hag. Eric Ten Hag is a very new manager. It's his first ever big time gig, you would say. I know Ajax, he's done a great job at Ajax, but obviously Man United is a bigger club. The expectations are more. He has been doing a credible job as well. The team has definitely turned around for good. But now the question remains: does Ronaldo really fit into the system? Do you reckon Ronaldo is the player for this system? Because Ronaldo, we've seen, hasn't really had a good work ethic off the ball. He's not someone who carries the ball. He wants the ball to be presented to him, wants the chances. But Man United look to be a team which includes everyone. Everyone wants to be the one. I mean, Eric Ten Hag wants everyone to create, push the ball forward, ball progression wise. Just looking someone like Marcus Rashford do that now. So now, do you think Ronaldo is a misfit in the system? Abel, what do you reckon for that?
Firstly, I think the whole debate about is Ronaldo a right player for United for this season started with him fitting into the system or not. Now look at Ten Hag's system, which he used to deploy in Ajax or wherever he has done it, right? He likes a striker being more involved in the ball. He likes a striker pressing on the ball, which Ronaldo at this age is possibly not comfortable doing that. And whether Ten Hag wants to build a system around Ronaldo or whether Ten Hag wants a system which will fit United in the long run, that was the biggest debate to start off the season with. And Ten Hag chose the latter, which was he wanted to do a system which will fit United and which will have them do good in longer run. And that's exactly what happened. Ten Hag wanted a striker who could be more involved, and what he chose was with Rashford. Rashford was a player who was in a lot of doubt. He was out of form before the start of the season. He was not being involved. He was deployed left wing last season. Remember that when Ralph Ragnick was the coach. He was a deployed left wing. He had a horrible time. Even after Euros, he never was able to recover after all the aftermath which happened. Then it came about a time where Rashford was deployed in the Liverpool game. He did pretty well. And remember, this all started off with a Brentford loss and the two consecutive losses United had. You saw Ronaldo's involvement up top was not really good enough. And was he when you talk about Ten Hag system, some of the focal points of Ten Hag system is the goalkeeper and the striker as well. I know midfield that is a larger part of the system, but then it all starts from build up from the back. De Gea is also not a good fit for the system, if I'm being very honest, because he's not a good ball playing goalkeeper, and you've seen that time and time again. One of the major reasons why even De Gea is not even involved in the Spanish national team. But then, as a striker, can you press? Can you really do the in behinds? or are you going to be a target man? If you want to be a target man where you're anticipating crosses, where Jadon Sancho or even Anthony is going to put in balls onto your feet, that's not going to work. That's what Ten Hag wanted. Ten Hag might have communicated. I'm not quite sure about it. Definitely might have communicated, Ronaldo, this is what I'm expecting out of you, and there would have been disagreements. I think that should have been the starting point of where it all began and what we are seeing right now. And of course, as I keep saying, there is no player which is bigger than the club, and ultimately that is what it is. As a team, where you want to head it. Ronaldo is now 37. He possibly has got what, 2 more good years in him, maybe. I'm just hoping that it's already seeing the decline, right? Ronaldo with Portugal also, it's just not United. Even Ronaldo with Portugal in the friendlies or leading into that, especially talking about the qualifiers, he's not been great. He's not been the Ronaldo we know of 2015, 16, 17, 18. Abhishek will tell better because he's a Madrid fan. He has seen the greatest of Ronaldo. He's seen the peak of Ronaldo. He's tasted the success right there. And Ronaldo, after he has left Madrid, he did a decent job in Juventus. Juventus does not have the team to support him. But right now, the thing is that the player is declining. So he's not. He's a misfit for the team. We keep telling that in all the sport, right? One says there's. I don't want to use the word dead wood, but the fact is that once a player is declining, then you will have to find another way. For Ronaldo, what happened worse for him is that no club really wanted him. Chelsea was very interested in him, but Todd Bowley and Tuchel had an argument on that. Tuchel was on his way out as well. Now, if you're talking about Bayern Munich is one team who's needing of a
I mean,
striker.
let's just pull that graph up, right, while you talk about it, about possible clubs that he might go at, and we'll cover probably all of them. Abhishek's favorite club is also right up there. I mean, there are rumors that he might. I mean, there are rumors that Ronaldo wants to go back to Madrid again, where he was obviously the most comfortable. But we all know that Florentino Perez has probably a bigger ego than Ronaldo himself. These are the 6 clubs, that were probably associated with him at the start of this, of this season. But now, do you reckon any of these clubs want him?
None of the big clubs, I would say. I was thinking his only option, the reason he did this interview was because he's found a club. Was my point of my line of thinking. He's found a club. He knows where he's going to go next, and he's ready to cut ties with Manchester United. And as to where he's going to go next, I thought either MLS or Sporting CP. And see, let's be realistic. I'm the biggest Ronaldo fan, but realistically, optimistically, he has like what, one or maximum 2 good years, 15 goals or 18 goals per season years in front of him. And if any club wants him, is probably 9 out of 10 times because of his image, the revenue that he gets in, more than the performance that he's bringing in. It's also the clubs will also factor in the exposure, the social media exposure, the global exposure that he gets with him. Now, I feel that is a bigger motivating factor for clubs to rope him in than for his performances. He's one of the greatest players of all time, but as we speak at this moment in time, like realistically speaking, I see him only going to the MLS. Where he can have another stint as Zlatan that Ibrahimovic had, or go back to his first club where his career started, Sporting CP. But then again, again, because of his ego, Michael Andrew pointed out how ego can destroy a team. He's also big on his weekly wages, and none of these teams that you just pointed out can at the moment afford to pay that amount of weekly wages. So that's also other than MLS, I feel Sporting CP, I feel does not have that kind of bandwidth or the capacity to pay that kind of weekly wages. So I feel he's headed to the MLS. As for the team, I'm not sure, but MLS should be his next destination.
I mean, I'll just follow up to that question, right? I mean, Michelle here says that he doesn't just fit. I mean, he doesn't fit in there. I think that should be also covered. It seems like he's a misfit in the system. Eric Ten Hag has also realized that, and that's the reason why he's playing off the bench and not really starting. But I mean, let's talk about it. Let's follow up to what you said. I mean, we did have Ruben Amorim, the manager of Sporting CP, say that it would be great if he comes over, but we don't have the capacity, the financials to really, support. I mean, or rather have him in the team. Is it a possibility? Because every player contract has this clause where if they are if there's a misdemeanor or they don't really respect the club can terminate a contract. Maybe
Terminate
this
his
is a
contract.
possibility
Yeah.
Ronaldo is aiming for that. As you mentioned, he might have already found a club because we know Ronaldo is one of the smartest guys out there. He understands the financials of the game just as much as he understands the game. So is there a possibility he wants wants the club to terminate the contract so that he can go out as a free agent? It makes his transfer much more easier. Grease the oil on the. I mean, grease the wheels a little bit more, and maybe some
Hmm.
other teams might find it a lot more easier. The deal will be a lot more better. Looking at the
Right,
fact that he's
right.
a
I mean, there are
player.
two things get into this, right? Look at the person to whom he has given the interview. I know he has given interviews to
Yeah,
Piers Morgan. Look at the person to whom he has given the interview, right? It's Piers Morgan. He has got the reach. It's a PR involvement right there. You can sense a PR
absolutely.
involvement right there. Or else he could have easily put on an Instagram post telling out his
Right,
disappointment, saying that, see, this is what I feel, this is where I want to go, this is what I personally feel about the club, and I'm on my way out. But look, he has given a full 90-minute interview, which is yet to be released. Remember, we are just picking out on the words or few sentences which is given from the interview. We do not know what the interview holds and what more is he going to talk about in the interview. So these are things which we need to consider. So there I feel Ronaldo has definitely found a club. Abhishek is spot on that. He has definitely had communication through back channels saying that, see, we are interested in you. And it could possibly be a Champions League playing club at this point. And knowing Ronaldo, he would want to go to a Champions League playing club. He's got the ego, right? He's got an ego in a positive sense and also a negative way to some extent. And this way, he would not want to go to an MLS team and say, okay, I'm going to play towards the end of my career in MLS. He doesn't like that. He is Latan. Everybody knows that these guys want to go out there, prove in Europe time and time again. And Ronaldo is big on that. He was never happy that United were playing the UEL this season. He did not just want to go out there and score goals against Sheriff. And remember that a player of Ronaldo's stature, of as much as we criticize him, why are we talking about this? Why, if Marcus Rashford would have yesterday given the statement, we wouldn't be like, oh, Marcus Rashford want to leave the club. Oh my god, that's a big statement. We are here because Ronaldo has given the statement, right? He has built that career over the last 20 years, and this lad is not a mug. He's gonna be there. He's gonna give it out to you either with his performance or either by doing this. So I
right.
personally have a feeling that he wants to go out to Bayern Munich. It's my personal
Yeah.
hunch. And I have a
Then
reason for saying this, right? Bayern Munich this season are still not there, like the Bayern Munich level. And now Bayern Munich are going into Champions League tie with PSG. And remember, they are yet to find their focal point, a striker. Eric Choupo-Moting is never your big striker to rely on. Sadio Mane is a misfit at a center forward role. Maybe for a season or maybe even 6 months. Bayern Munich would possibly want it. And Bayern Munich has got the funds. Out of all the clubs I am going to point out right now, we have the graphic right here. Only one club has got the finances to possibly afford him. Because of his ties with Real Madrid, I don't think he's going back to Real Madrid, and Perez is not going to take him back. Napoli has built it's a system. It's a team which is look prominent on system. They want to build a team around the system. That's what we have seen of Napoli this season. Unbeaten team. Chelsea, does Graham Potter again want him? He's also big on system. See,
yeah.
there could be a possibility. I'm not saying that after Bayern Munich, the second best possibility is
But
Chelsea.
I mean, haven't they
Chelsea.
also brought? They've also brought Aubameyang now, so their striker problems are pretty
Yes.
much solved for now, at least.
Yes, but they're not winning matches. So that's another thing. Uh,
Hmm.
see, that's another thing. They're not getting goals, right?
Yeah,
So that's another
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
But now, with him making this explosive interview, do managers really want him in the team?
Exactly.
Now, if you talk about Nagelsmann, when you talk about Graham Potter, these guys are really
Exactly.
people who want to control the team. Ten Hag, Pep Guardiola, Mourinho, all these people want to own the team. He's not your yes man, right? Maybe
Yeah.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would have been your yes man because he believed more on working with the team. A Gareth Southgate is a yes man. He's like, okay, I want this player. Okay, whatever this player says, I'll listen to you. But these people are like, no, I will tell you what to do. You do that. So
Yeah,
the
it's always, I
question
think,
is,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I
go
mean,
ahead, go
some of
ahead.
the managers, especially, Eric Ten Hag, you look at some of the managers that have been created by Guardiola, right? Both Eric Ten Hag and Mikel Arteta are two managers you've seen. Also Guardiola, right? That's their philosophy. It's not that they don't make their philosophy or their system on the players that they have, but rather they bring in the players that go according to their philosophy and
The
their system.
system.
And I mean, that's the reason why Ronaldo is not fitting, and that's the reason why Eric Ten Hag is laying down the law, so as to speak. And that's the kind of managers you need. You saw Klopp do that with Liverpool when Liverpool were one of the probably Liverpool were a similar situation that Man United are in right now because they were going down, they were not doing as well. But then Klopp turned it around for Liverpool by laying down the law. You would say Xavi is trying that in Barcelona. So these are the managers that you would see take the situation by the scruff of its neck, and then you would expect these managers to do what is required for the team. They will not be playing around the players, but they'll be looking for the players to play around him. And that's how even Eric Ten Hag is trying to do. I mean, he is a very young manager considering all the other managers that I've spoken about, but he is on that path. And I think Ronaldo is turning out to be a problem in that situation. I mean, let's just look at the graph. I mean, let's just look at the the stats of this season itself compared to the last season. how Ronaldo has really contributed to Man United.
I mean, after
Whether he's
signing, just look
actually,
at this as to how it has been for
yeah,
United after signing Ronaldo, and how it has been.
let's
You
start
know,
with that. Correct. Yeah.
yeah, but if you look at that graph in itself, you can see that majority of those games was last season, right?
Yeah,
Where
so this is both under Ralph Ragnick and under Eric Ten Hag, and the systems were very different. Also, this year is where you're really seeing Ronaldo struggle.
Absolutely. I mean, it that in itself says how things have, Ronaldo has had an impact, especially last season.
Yeah.
There was a time where without, if you don't start Ronaldo, in majority of the games, you were ending up to lose that game. And that was a fact, right? You do not have a goal scorer. But that at that time, you do not have a system in place. Under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you were a little confused as to what system you want to play. Under Ralph Ragnick, you were trying to deploy a system with misfit players. So these were the
Hmm.
questions. And hence that at that time, maybe Ronaldo was a better player. I think we have had Rahul ask that question as well, and especially this season, if you look, just look at the conversion rate as well. It's been what 520 minutes per
I
goal.
mean, I'll
Time
just go to Abhishek here. Abel. Let's just Abhishek. What do you think of Rahul's question right here? He has received a lot of. I mean, upon Rahul, post all the slander he's had to face this entire season, don't you think it's justified for him to hit back? Now, I mean, I'll ask you this question also in the consideration of the graphic that Abel just put up on the screen right there. Do you think he's still justified? Do you think he's being hard done by as a player who's given a lot to Man United as well in the past and to football as overall? Do you think, because we know Ronaldo is someone who is a player of a high stature, he obviously wouldn't be like to be treated this way. No sportsman does. But is it just his ego getting better of him, or does he actually deserve to speak out?
No, I think it's a double-edged sword. I think both the parties are at fault here because we read reports that Ten Hag didn't want to let go of Ronaldo because he said he had plans for him before the start of the season. And whereas in hindsight, if you look at it now, he could have just let go of him back then because he has no plans for him, as you know, as things go, things are going right now. But as to what Rahul is saying, I feel he has been receiving a lot of slander, given that he's playing in the Premier League and the media there are, cutthroat media. But then again, my problem with this whole interview, him hitting back, is the timing of it. Him hitting back on at the United management more than the coach. I feel I feel sorry, I lost track of myself. Yeah, it's the timing of it because he's still under contract first, and the things that he said may just as well be true because he's not the first person or the first player or the first manager to ever say something against United because Mourinho a couple of years ago said that his greatest achievement with United was coming second in the league, and people were looking down on him, and he replied back saying there are a lot of things in the background that nobody knows about. And Ibrahimovic also stated that on the outside, United seemed like the best club, the richest club, the most attractive club in the world, but instead from the inside it's anything but that. So, and to Ronaldo adding to joining that boat is like, I'm not saying like all these people are false. My problem is like, he definitely deserves to hit back because of the way he's been treated by the club and by Eric Ten Hag. But fair play to Eric Ten Hag, he's been ruling with an iron fist, like you pointed out, Jaren. With big egos in the team, you need to rule with an iron fist, and you need to be very sure of yourself as to what your decisions are. So I feel props to Eric Ten Hag for that. But Ronaldo doing this interview just before the World Cup, and like he has he has Manchester United teammates in his Portuguese team as well, and like there are youngsters and there are like people in their late 20s. So I feel like as his image as a person and as a player has gone, like might have taken a hit, and like it might have taken it it might have the team's morale also must have taken a hit. For example, like his close aide, like Bruno Fernandes, he plays with him in the national team as well and in the United squad as well, and to play and to say things like this and then like join him in the national team right before the World Cup is, it's like it's got to do more with the mental psyche of the players than to any tangible thing that can be pointed out at. And like I would be totally all right if Ronaldo did this interview after he left United, like just wait till January, then once you're out of the club, just say everything that you want, like how Mourinho did it and like how this thing Ibrahimovic did it. My only problem is what Rahul pointed out is he's completely justified in fight hitting back, but the timing of it is just very unprofessional according to me.
Yeah, and
And for a player of that
I'll
stature.
just add to
Yeah,
that as well, because when we talk about a player and a club relation, it's a relation, it's a contractual relation at the end of the day. It's not
right.
like a nation and a player. It's, if Ronaldo is talking about this about Portugal, you can still say it's an emotional angle, but ultimately Ronaldo is getting paid on weekly basis with the club. He's still a player. Remember, he's gonna get paid until the end of the World Cup as well. But now there is another angle to this, right? If United are going to terminate his contract at this point, what is going to possibly happen is he can move as a free agent, which means
yeah,
United will not
as a
have to take
contract.
any money from any of the clubs who are taking because his contract runs out in June. And until then, what Ronaldo can do is he'll be as a free agent. He can go to whichever club he wants. Yeah, he might have to possibly face a legal sanction, but what is that going to be? It's going to be peanuts of money for Ronaldo, man. It's not going to be
Yeah,
absolutely. It's going to be peanuts of money for Ronaldo to pay that off and actually move on. And that's where I think it's a smart move. There's something more to it which we do not know, and even Nabil is saying the same thing. There's only one captain of the ship, and it says एक टीम में दो गुंडा नहीं हो सकते इस टीम का गुंडा एक चाहिए. Yeah, I think yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's
yeah,
funny,
Nabil
but
got
it
it
makes
right.
a lot of sense because you cannot have two big figures in a team. We have seen that in all
Yeah,
the sporting teams. And some of the greatest sporting teams, you cannot have two egos clash. You can have one big team, one big leader, and he's going to be he's going to be the controller of the
But
entire team. That's
I
why I
mean,
feel.
you can also arguable, if I may. I mean, for example, Man United might just take this case, to court of arbitration of sport, and it might become it might become a very difficult affair to get rid of because you've seen these kind of things happen. Clubs don't usually let go of. I know Ronaldo's got a lot of money with him, but you have to look at it the fact that Man United as well has taken a big hit because now it won't be easy for them to come back from this the amount of damage that it's caused. And as even you would understand contract a lot more, I mean, as well, because there could be some damages that United would claim. I'm not talking about legal side of things. I'm not looking at the damages, but how much do you think will affect Ronaldo's legacy overall as a player, and how difficult is now it's going to become for him to really get going? I mean, as if Abhishek says, says, until and unless there isn't a backroom channel already open, maybe like it could be with probably Bayern, and Bayern would have said we're not ready to pay transfer fee for you. We don't think that's an investment because you're a player of 38. We don't expect you to play for more than 2 years. And but until unless there is a contract already available, I think this would really affect his chances in Europe now, right? Going forward, MLS might still take him
I
because
mean,
it is going to help MLS more than Ronaldo because Ronaldo coming to MLS means
right.
MLS gets more viewership. But Ronaldo going to Europe anywhere else, especially like some of the bigger clubs like Bayern who have the opportunity to win Champions League. Do you think it's going to hurt him a lot more, especially when it comes to negotiations at least?
yes, that is one factor to it. But then look at the statements he's made. He's spoken about himself, but look at the statements he's made about the club, right? He's told nothing has changed from
They are true,
2013.
right?
Nothing has changed from 2009. Sorry, from 2009,
Yeah.
since the moment he left Real Madrid, nothing has changed from 2009. The time he was there, the infrastructure is almost the same. There's no technological advancement because now, if you talk about football, it's technologically driven. It's more
Right.
data
Yeah.
science into it. You are looking at what a training facility where you have drones being used. A lot of things have turned over the last 10 years or even more than 10 years. So Ronaldo is, I think, right in pointing that out that nothing has changed. United, we've seen that. Oh, without Ronaldo, also this team has not done anything great.
Yeah.
Their best finish in the last 10 years have been that UEL win. That's all.
I think
They're still trying to win a
they are
Champions League.
looking a lot better this year. I think they're right now
They
fifth
are, they
position,
are, but it's going to
3 points
take time,
from
Derek.
Tottenham.
It's going to take time. So that what
Yeah.
Eric Ten Hag is trying to do right now is to clean up stuff this season so that he
Yeah.
can look
Yeah.
at a better future in the next 3 to 4 years. Nothing happens overnight, right? And especially in football, you need to
Mhm.
give enough time. One season is
Yeah.
nothing. You're talking about a futuristic plan. Maybe in 2025, they want to contend for Premier League, they can. And next year, I think there'll be a better team as well because they are reinforcing every position with the kind of philosophy which Eric Ten Hag has. It is not like he's picking players and he's like, you play this philosophy. He's trying to pick up players who can fit into his philosophy. That's the reason why he's gone to
Yeah.
Martinez, who's a good ball playing defender. He's gone to Anthony. He's gone to Eriksen. All these people are comfortable with the ball. And I wouldn't be surprised next season if he goes to a goalkeeper who can fit into his system as well. So
Hmm.
this is why he's a
It's
very bold
com-
manager. But having said that, United as a club has not done anything good. If you talk about Glazers have really run this like a business. They're not
Yeah.
considered the sporting side of things. They're not considered the emotional side of things with United, what fans need. He's run it like a business, right? That's why United is listed
Hmm.
in stock market in US as well. United is a very big franchise, or it's a very big entity right now. That everywhere in Asia, if you talk, every third person is possibly a United fan. It's not because of United.
Right.
It's not because of Ronaldo. It's because of the legacy it has got over last 40 years or so. But Glazers haven't done anything to uplift it or take it to the next level. All what they've done is to bring in Ronaldo to get in more fanboys, get in more business, not looking at club and what the club really needs. But I thought bringing in Eric Ten Hag was a very good decision. But at the same time, look at what club did to Ronaldo as well. He also spoke about his 3 months daughter being ill. He was
Yeah,
not
yeah.
treated the right way. I think those things are not right from the club's point of view as well. When you talk about a club, you need to understand your players. When we talk about a club and player relationship, some of the best club and player relationship, okay, Messi with Barcelona, the way it ended has been just awful, right? But over the years, we know there's been a good, Messi had enough time to also
But I
choose
mean,
coaching at
that's
one
that's
point of
that's
time.
why you have to look at how Barcelona treated Messi, right? I mean, if tomorrow Ronaldo leaves Man United, I don't expect him to go in the same emotional background as Messi left. When Messi left, you could see it on his face. It was like something being torn away from him, something that he really held in high regards. But I mean, you haven't seen that with Ronaldo for quite some time. I think ever since he left Man United, even when he left Madrid, he left on probably wrong terms. Probably the
Right.
only
He
place
did.
he left
Yeah.
when he left Manchester United when he was a young boy is when he went with some emotions and when he went for looking for new adventure. But ever since that, you've looked at Ronaldo as someone who's gone from club to club looking for opportunities for to bettering himself. Isn't that somewhere maybe where Ronaldo's kind of fallen back as a player? Because at the end of the day, it's when it comes to club football or any kind of sport, it's just team sport. You have to look at team loyalty, and players are always regarded in that fashion. I mean, I'll come to you, Abhishek. That's something that'll probably be much closer to your heart. How much do you think that has also affected his legacy? Right now, people are not looking at Ronaldo as a team player anymore. He has his own entity outside the team, and is it really coming to a crescendo with this real controversy now?
I think it does affect his, there's a gray area, there's a dark spot. It does put a dark spot on his legacy because, he's at the tail end of his career and he's trying to do
Yeah,
anything to get himself some game time at the cost of the team's balance, at the cost of the team's results. I feel like, he says he wants to help United, but only if he gets to play. But that is like, you have to read between the lines is what I feel like. He wants to advance, he wants to see United advance, but only if he gets the playing time that he's always been used to throughout his career. And like, at this point in time, like, with all due respect to him, with him being my favorite player, like, it's like the way I see it, he's just acting like a spoiled brat because he's not getting what he wants. And like, he's cutting ways, he's that saying, by hook or crook, right? So like,
yeah.
he's trying all the different avenues possible to either cut ties with United at this point, which is true. But before this, he was trying everything to either get the game time, or like, game time that he has been used to, or like, get out of the club as soon as possible, because he has very limited time in his hands and he wants to make use of that time as much as possible. But it does put a, like, a player is judged as much as his performance and behavior on the pitch, as much as it does, like, off the pitch as well. And his behavior off the pitch since he joined United has been, like, abysmal, to say the least. Like, he's been very selfish, to say, you could say he's been very selfish. And like, but then again, that it's a double-edged sword, right? He's at the tail end of his career. Like, you don't know which sides to take here as a man in, like,
Yeah, and
Manchester United.
also you have to also look
Like,
at
yeah,
how
man.
Piers Morgan and his crew has sort of edited that what do you say, that peek, the sneak peek, because obviously we don't know the full, we don't know the context in which he said
Context
that,
behind it. Yeah,
because if
right,
you guys
right.
have seen Piers Morgan, he's very good at leading you on. He is really good at doing it. He's really good at
Very good. Yeah, yeah.
sticking to
Yeah.
an agenda of sorts. Even I'll come to you because you did speak about the other side of it, right? We know that Glazers is running this club into the ground. Even when Alex Ferguson was up right there, you know that green and gold, the green and gold mufflers and the flags and all that the Manchester United fans had, and they still do it now, right? The fact that that's a protest against the Glazers, and also you've seen that Glazers haven't brought in players who can improve the club, but rather what they've really tried to do is that try to bring in players whose image rights are more expensive, or whose image rights are better. We've seen that with Ronaldo in the past. I mean, recently we've seen that in the past as well. I mean, they've brought some great players in, but not players who really fit in the system. Now, do you reckon Glazers are just as much to blame?
No, I don't think I think Glazers are to be blamed because look at the number of managers who have come to this club. Right after
Can I
Ferguson,
just
the one
add
who
another point to it right
yeah.
before you get going? Also, because you would argue that Ronaldo did know the conditions the club coming into, because I'm assuming the kind of money and the kind of at least the
You
kind of
think he didn't know?
resources he has,
I
Ronaldo would have studied
no, no, no. I
beforehand,
don't
right?
think so, Jaren. The fact is that he has got, as Abhishek mentioned, there are teammates from Portugal playing in that club. I bet he would have inquired about it. He would have definitely asked
Yeah, my
Bruno
point
Fernandes
exactly. He would have
what is
inquired. He
happening.
would have known before entering, right? What kind of condition
He
Man
knew
United
what he was
are
entering
in.
into. He definitely knew
Yeah,
what he was entering into. He knew he was entering into a mess. But then that is Ronaldo, right? He wants to go out to a
yeah,
club and he wants to make them that. And he wants to go and prove a point that, see, I am best because I can take United to a Premier League glory. I can take United to Champions League and make them fight in Champions League. That's Ronaldo's mentality because you can't
hmm,
match Ronaldo's mentality, the kind of player he is. He's unparalleled when he comes to it. When you talk about players like Kobe Bryant, Ronaldo, Michael Jordan, they all have
yeah,
this elite class. They want to prove to people, they want to prove to the world that I can take this team without a manager or without certain players to glory. You don't need an Alex Ferguson. You don't need the best manager to do that. I can do it. That's what Ronaldo is all about. That's what Ronaldo's always been about. That's why you respect Ronaldo as a player. But the fact of the matter, Jaren, is that Glazers also have not done a good job. Let's talk about the number of
yeah,
managers who have come, right? I thought one of the biggest names who came was Louis Van Gaal. Louis Van Gaal, after 2014 World Cup, when he took over United, I thought there is a ray of hope when he took over United. But then what happened right after that? He did not get the players. They were signing players who were misfit. I remember they signed Angel Di Maria the very season. They signed Memphis Depay. I thought it was not possibly fitting. Okay, Memphis Depay was possibly a connection which Louis Van Gaal had with Netherlands and all this. But then are they all going to play the system which Louis Van Gaal has? Remember, Louis Van Gaal is also a very ballsy coach, right? He demands things to be done. He wants players to play in a certain way. They did not do it. The moment they finished seventh, he was on his way out again. And also remember, Glazers have also been very impatient with their managers. I thought
yeah.
Jose Mourinho did a very good job. Possibly the best success they had was under Jose Mourinho, where they won the UEL and they competed for FA Cup. I think they won the FA Cup as well. Correct me if I'm not wrong.
No, I mean, did
Uh,
they win the UEL? No, right?
they
They
won
won
the
the
UEL.
UEL under Mourinho,
Yeah,
yeah,
oh, sorry,
under
yeah,
Mourinho.
They
correct.
did. They won the UEL under
Yeah,
Mourinho.
they did, yeah,
And that's what I thought, okay, this is something United is going in the right direction. Okay, people were again
yeah.
bored, oh, what boring football is he playing?
I think
It's
you
not the
have to
brand of
maybe
football.
in many ways you have to also probably. I mean, I wouldn't say 100% blame. Everything goes to Man United fans as well, but in some places I've observed that Man United fans have really been also just as much impatient because they always wanted. They were always in search for the next Alex Ferguson,
I'll
but I
just
think
add
they've
to that.
never been ready
I
to
just want to know
wait for it.
I just want to know both of your opinion on this as well because I felt maybe I'm not saying this in Madrid, I'm not saying in Barcelona, but in Manchester United, the club legends, the former club legends, have a lot of say. And they do take it seriously. For
Yeah,
example, Rio Ferdinand, or Roy Keane, whatever they say, that you do take it seriously. Rio Ferdinand was so vocal. Mourinho should be out. This is not what we want. We want Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. When Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had come, he took over. The initial, there is this, what do you say? There is a soda bottle effect, right? The moment he takes over, everything looks good, but you don't know what is at the end of things. And that's exactly what happened. Ole is at the wheel, we are doing this, but nothing really went their way. They just crashed out in the Premier League. Maybe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer also did a decent job at taking them to second. But the fact is, again, were they all looking at the future or the short term thing? I just want to know from both of you, especially Abhishek. Does it happen in Real Madrid where your former legends go out there and make statements? See, I don't want this coach, so let's bring in a new coach, and Perez listens to it? I don't think so.
I don't think so. No, Perez as a president, I think he's by far the best president out there. And I don't think he'll be swayed by the opinions of the legends. He got Zidane, and what credentials did Zidane have apart from coaching the the B team, Castilla team of Real Madrid? But I feel that does not happen with Perez because like you said about United, it's a very it's probably the most popular club, I would say, popular club in the world. It has a lot of fan following. Opinions come from all over the world, and like you said, the opinions of the legends, because it's the most marketed league in the world, and a lot of these United legends are also a part of the British media. They get that platform, Like, they get that platform to speak, which reaches, which, hello?
Yeah, yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
you're audible. You're
Hello?
audible. Go ahead.
I
Oh, I think we
think
just got.
he's faced some issue.
Yeah, I mean, I just continue from right there. I think the biggest issue probably the fact that Glazers are very very concerned about the club's the club's image in media in front of the fans, because as Abhishek rightly mentioned, these legends are part of the media, right? And I think when they say something, that effect transcends into a public image of the club, of how the manager is performing or how things are working. So I think that is where you see that transcendence into the public image. And because Glazers business model runs on the fact that Man United is a popular club, they cannot take any such narrative going against Man United. They want narrative to go for Man United. And in an attempt to make that work, sometimes they are very they get very impatient with the managers. I mean, you saw that. I think that's where I really have to give credit to Arsenal, right? Because you have to realize, I mean, it's not easy. You see Premier League coaches get fired just like this. I mean, you saw how some of the, I mean, in this recent season itself, how some of the clubs whose managers brought them from from the championship to Premier League were fired just like that for not being able to perform in the Premier League, even though there's a big jump. Sometimes it takes seasons to get used to that jump. And even then they were being impatient, they were fired. But Mikel Arteta got that backing from Arsenal board, and that's the reason why you're seeing that turnaround. But you haven't really seen that from Man United, because when once the media starts speaking against Man United, I think Glazers have this insecurity. The public image is turning against us, and that will hurt us in the long term, our financials in the long term. That's why they keep trying to keep the narrative positive, or at least to sell hope. Because when a club is winning, you sell the wins, you sell the success. But when the club is not winning, what you sell is a hope that this club will do well. And that's the only reason why fans watch it, right? I mean, I don't think many, I mean, teams are out there whose fans, if don't believe or don't hope that the team will do well, or the team aren't doing well, then I think that's when you see the fans really coming down, especially for a team like Man United, which has built that brand of success for a long time now.
Yeah, yeah, there's a legacy around the club as well. Now, over the last what decades, I mean, I can't really count. They've built this legacy over decades, and Abhishek is also back. So, one thing which I personally was saying that this is a very good point, to be honest. Don't you guys think media is being involved in football a lot more? I also feel it to an extent where players are talking a
In
lot of
England
dressing room
overall,
secrets
right?
out.
That's the culture, right? We see that in cricket as well. In England, media is a very, would you say, very vocal, very influential wing of the society. There, you see that in cricket as well. So often than not, I think probably one example I can think of cricket was Ian Botham, who got thrown out of the team just because of public opinion, that perception media turned against him. We've seen that happen time and time again. Media is very influential in sports in England, and in football as well. That happens to a lot of extent, where media and the kind of perception they have is important. And right now, media is turned against Ronaldo. So that's where you would see even some of the fans are turning against Ronaldo as well. And so we need to see how once the interview comes, perception might change. That still remains to be seen, because we don't know the context of what Ronaldo has actually said and how Ronaldo has said it. Because there might be a line of questioning in that interview where after which Ronaldo said it. So we need to see how the interview comes. That's probably when we'll get the full picture. But as of now, suddenly, I mean, media is very influential when it comes to England. What's your take on it, Abhishek?
Yeah, I mean, I think you covered whatever, whatever my thoughts were as well. Because, like with any sport, we are in the age of like digital media. We are in the everything, any kind of information is so easily accessible. So, they get to slowly and slowly, whatever happens on the pitch is offline, you could say. And this media majorly operates online, and the majority of the population is where there is online all the time, that they are always online to get the information that the media is giving out. So it's supply and demand, it's the changing of the times. We are slowly transitioning from newspapers to digital media. And because of the accessibility that cell phones give us, it's just the sign of the times, I would say. Because fans were not this hounding back during the days of newspaper, when there were no cell phones, where digital media was not this accessible.
Yeah.
When now like transitioning to now, like everyone like has access to, like even a small non-smart phone can have access to internet and can have access to videos. So like even accessibility has a lot of role to play, and the media is just taking advantage of it. If there is demand, there is also they are the main suppliers of it.
Right.
I mean, let's come back to what Ronaldo said in the interview, and let's talk about what he said about some of his. Some of the players who criticized him, specifically talking about Wayne Rooney. I think that's where some of the Man United fans. That's where it really hit the Man United fans. I think, to be very frank, I think if he hadn't mentioned Wayne Rooney, he would have still gotten some little bit more sympathy. Because I mean, Wayne Rooney, what he said, I think it was perfectly justifiable. Wayne Rooney did not say that Ronaldo doesn't belong in this team. By the way, He's one of the only people who said that Ronaldo belongs in this team. Ronaldo can be the answer for Man United's woes. What he said was Ronaldo should not disrespect the manager. But today Ronaldo came out to say, and I think which was very petty, that quote unquote I look better than Rooney. And what do you guys have to say about that?
No,
That was just
but then again, like that was said as a joke. I agree that is 100% petty, but that was like said as a joke.
but even yeah, it is a
No, but
context
it
of it,
was
right?
in
Now,
the context of, I agree. Yeah, it was 100% petty. Like, why even bring up that comparison? Like, you're talking
yeah,
about sports, you're talking about football, you're talking about numbers there. Why even bring up that comparison? I'm better looking than you. That's just
I
petty
we
times
all
100.
understand Wayne Rooney is younger than Ronaldo by a year, and Wayne Rooney has put in a lot of age because he's also managing a team. Understand that he
yeah,
had to manage, he had to look into finances of a team. I think on Derby County, Rooney was himself paying out for the players' finances
yeah,
because Derby
absolutely.
County couldn't do it. So that's one thing which I think that was petty. I still think we are jumping the gun a little bit. We do not know the context of the interview. I think
Exactly.
Wednesday night is when internet is going to totally break. Everybody's going to tune in. I
I
think
It's
think
going to come out on
Wednesday
Wednesday?
Nation is also going to
yeah,
break.
Wednesday
Yeah,
and Thursday is what is told.
Oh,
Wednesday night is.
yeah?
yeah.
I think
Oh,
It's
my
a.
God.
it is like this
I mean,
World Cup
and you
final.
guys. I
Everybody's
mean,
going
for
to
those
tune
of
into
you who
that.
don't know, P.S. Morgan is very, very infamous for bending words and bringing out different context to something that had been said in a different way.
But
And
you know
that's where I
what?
think P.S.
You know
Morgan
what?
is fully
You know what?
utilizing this as a
I
PR
also
campaign
think
for
that's
his
one
team.
case. But remember,
Yeah.
Ronaldo is the other party involved here. If Piers Morgan bends with words, he would have hit back by this
I
time.
think
So Ronaldo
it's
also
like
wanted to
bend it like
convey.
Ronaldo and Morgan. Yeah.
I think it's a mutual thing. They would have understood that. See, you would have called Pierce saying that. See, this is what I want to communicate, and this is what you
Yeah.
should be putting out as
Absolutely.
well. It's a complete understanding of what has come out, and
Yeah.
I
You're
think
right.
there are a lot of things to it. There are bigger explosives to be released, and he's going to be talking about the management as well. I don't know how much stocks of Manchester United are going to come down after that. So Glazers are going to watch, and that's where the biggest night, right? The
You know
biggest
what?
show is going to be on Wednesday night.
I think Man United and Coca-Cola are going to have a sponsorship brand right after this controversy. Two parties who have been really affected by Ronaldo's
Just to get
acts.
back at Ronaldo, just to get back at him, like,
Yeah,
yeah, let's make a deal.
I
Yeah.
mean, you never know. But yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it for us on this. I mean, as of now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, just to
We
add
will
to
have
that
to wait and
also,
watch. We will
finally,
definitely come back after the
yeah,
interview
finally,
is
just
released,
to
as
add to
you
that, Darren,
mentioned.
I feel Ronaldo, knowing Ronaldo, I think this is also a motivational factor for him. I have this
Yeah.
gut
Let's speak
feel that
about that. I think
he's
that's
gonna
one point I
go
was
to
going
the
to miss
World
out on.
Cup
Let's talk about
and he's
World
gonna
Cup
go to
and
the
how it's
World
going to
Cup.
impact. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's
Yeah.
gonna go to the World Cup and really light the stage. Knowing Ronaldo, he likes this kind of now. Now there is two sides to this, right? There are a lot of people now hating on Ronaldo. Now he'll go to the
Yeah.
World Cup with that motivation. I remember one of the quote. Your hate makes me
Negative,
unstoppable.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this is something which I remember of Ronaldo. Ronaldo has not changed at all. That's a mentality he goes into every game with. And I
Yeah. Yeah.
personally think I don't know how far Portugal will go into the World Cup, but this is certainly an added motivation for him to
But
prove
you
to the
also need
world.
to question. But you also need to question like his perform, how his lack of game time throughout to the run up of this World Cup will affect his performance in the World Cup, because he
Yes.
barely got game time, and in the game time that he did get, he severely underperformed. Like, you
Yeah.
could also argue that the system that Portugal's coach has built a system to suit Ronaldo's thing. But then
Yeah.
again, his lack of game time is also a big concern, right? Of course,
Yeah.
I want him to perform. Like, I want him to light the World Cup up. But then, like, realistically speaking, like,
But that's what I say. When we talk about
It's
Virat
going to be
Kohli, when we talk
interesting.
about
The
Kobe
World Cup is
Bryant.
lot of cameras are going to be on Ronaldo. A lot of scrutiny is going to be on Ronaldo. That's where he
Yeah,
thrives, right? He loves that stage, and he's creating the
the big
stage for himself.
occasion.
I
He
think
loves the
it's
spotlight. Yeah.
He
Yep.
loves
yeah.
the
I mean,
spotlight.
he's
That's
that
why
player, right? Yeah,
I draw reference with him with Virat Kohli as well to a lot of extent. For a lot of people who do not know cricket, we're getting a lot of overseas viewers as well. So just saying that Virat Kohli is also someone who I think thrives on these big occasions, like the spotlight on him for the big occasions to step up, right? So
yeah,
we have seen with Cristiano Ronaldo. Talk about the biggest Champions League nights, biggest occasion for Madrid. He has always been there, giving it all. And I remember one of the biggest occasions was Juventus was Atletico Madrid, where I think
yeah,
Juve was 2-0 down, and he called his friends up saying that, see, I'm going to score a hat trick, just come and watch the match. See, that is what Ronaldo all about. That's a legacy of Ronaldo. And
Right.
that's why I personally feel this guy knows what he's talking about. And this guy personally thrives on these occasions. And whatever you're going to throw hate at him, he's going to prove you wrong in the World Cup. And I think he's
yeah.
extra motivated. And Abhishek, you mentioned that less game time. I think it's a blessing in this, guys. A lot of players are going into this World Cup super tired, super jaded because of 3 games
Right.
a week. Now look at the players who've got
Mm.
lesser game time. They are really going to be fresh and charged up for that 1 month. If
Yeah.
Ronaldo gives it
Right.
all for 1 month, that's it,
And I
man.
think
Where I don't know
one
if
He
he
thing
might
wants
as
about
well just
Ronaldo,
retire. Like, he might as well just retire if he wins the World Cup. And like,
that's it.
that's it.
and
Just
it's
call it a
probably his
day.
plan as well. I mean, you might be right in that direction. Maybe Ronaldo's goal is to win the World Cup and just go to MLS, and maybe build a because you know what Ronaldo at this point in time, you have to also probably realize that Ronaldo at this point in time is worried about his stocks falling in terms of his global hype because the more he doesn't play, the more camera pans on Ronaldo wearing a bib sitting on the bench, more he loses in sponsorship deals and whatnot. There's one thing
His
about
brand value
Ronaldo.
reduces.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean,
Right.
he's
Right.
won everything in Europe. He's won everything in Europe. I don't think there's anything that he needs to win anymore. He might as well think, okay, World Cup's the only thing that was missing. Now I win this, I go and set America alight. And he'll get a lot of sponsorship in America. Americans love Ronaldo. Even
I
just
mean,
look at Todd
I think
Bowley.
it's a
He
match
brought
made
a
in
club
heaven.
to get
You
Ronaldo
know
in there.
why? I show speed Ronaldo and America. It's just a
Oh
match
my.
made in heaven.
Oh, by the way, guys, I have a feeling. What is your take on this? I have a feeling Ronaldo is seriously, seriously avoiding ISO speed.
I mean, he was draw. He was supposedly ill, right, for the last 2 games where
Yeah.
Aisho Speeds showed up. But then, like again, if he is actually avoiding him, intentionally avoiding him, again, that's petty. That's a fan. Like Ronaldo has never said no to a fan. But then,
But
like
we all
that
know
be
one
He's
thing
that.
that
a fan, man.
Ronaldo rather shake hands with ISO speed than Gary Neville. At
I
that
think
note,
I think more than Ronaldo, one person's stock who have really gone up over the last 6 months has been ISO speed because of Ronaldo. So I personally
Ronaldo.
think
and
he
you know
thrives on
what? They
Ronaldo.
also put him on the pitch, which they did not do to Ronaldo. So,
he had more game time than Ronaldo. Yeah, yeah.
but I think I
Yeah,
shouldn't
yeah.
be making
So
too much fun because who knows next on Ronaldo's hit list is me. I mean, you never know.
I think
But
we'll end the
on
live on
that
that
note,
note.
yeah, on that note. But thank you guys so much for joining on a very light note. Let's hope Ronaldo the champion really returns. You never know that this might be the start of the last hurrah of Ronaldo's career, and
Ronaldo's career.
he is supremely fit. It could be just the downtime. We saw that happen to Messi as well, but Messi's made a comeback. You never know with Ronaldo. Whenever people have written him off, he's come good. This is a stage for sure. What Ronaldo does on the stage, we need to see. It remains to be seen, but we'll be definitely covering a lot more. And the FIFA World Cup is coming. A lot of teams to look forward to. We've already covered England. We're going to be covering some more exciting teams right up to the lead up of the World Cup. And then throughout the World Cup, our team will be here after every match, making sure that you guys get the right insights into the game. Also, on the cricket side of things, I know the World Cup is just ended, but cricket action is not. And Boom 11 will make sure, that our team right here of content creators give you the best content. And also, on Apple Play Store, Apple App Store, and Google Play Store, you can download Boom 11 and play risk-free fantasy experience. Be it cricket, football, even have basketball. By the way, guys, so you guys have a lot to look forward to. So thank you so much, guys, for joining us. And until next time, goodbye.
Bye.
Bye bye, guys.